Hello and welcome to the FatBoss Guide to Garalon, 25-man normal in the heart of fear.
Yeah, this boss is very interesting. He doesn't have a threat table, he's chasing people. It's a bit weird, but it's also really quite cool as well.
For this encounter you want to bring 2 tanks, 5 to 6 healers, and a mixed makeup of DPS. Warriors and rogues are very good here.
Ridiculously good. The cleaves of
anything with high cleave damage is very, very strong here.
Now this fight has many mechanics and we're going to go through them one by one, and we're going to be starting off with the pheromones.
Now pheromones is a debuff that's applied to a random player that does ticking damage, and while you are affected with this debuff, the boss is fixated on you. Now while you have this pheromone debuff, every time you run away from the boss you'll leave a trail. And they're like small puddles on the ground that do a bunch of damage, but so yeah, don't make sure you're not standing in them. And you'll also gain pungency, which increases the amount of pheromones does to you by 10% for 2 minutes, and it stacks up pretty quickly.
It really stacks up fast. Now you can also give pheromones to another player by getting close to them.
And that will move the debuff on. It works much like the Putricide debuff on Heroic from ICC.
Yeah, so what you need to do with the pheromones is stand far away off from the boss and kite him around the edge of the room, as you can see here. Now the boss is slow, so it's not very hard. Now once you get to about 13 stacks, you want to have another player switch with you. Now you can make this stack up to 20 depending on how good your healers are. However, this footage shows 13 stacks as the healers are ults. You just need to find the right amount of stacks that your healers are comfortable with healing throughout the fight, really. And if you are using this 13 stack rotation, then you're going to need 11 people to rotate this buff around. Of course, the higher the stacks you are, the less people you need to rotate around. Because if you don't set up this rotation, then you might be taking the pheromones again with the and you'll still have that pungency debuff, and that'll just stack up even more, and that'll just fuck everything up, and you'll die, and then it just gets messy. So just make sure you have a good rotation, and just check out with your healers. It'll take a bit of experimentation to get that right.
Now the best people to use in this rotation, for obvious reasons, are ranged DPS, because you can kite and DPS at the same time. However, if you are forced to use melee DPS, then you should use melee DPS. You shouldn't really get your healers to do it, as they sort of have to deal with other things as well.
Now whenever you do transfer the pheromones buff to a different player by standing near them, the boss will perform his next ability we're going to talk about, which is Crush. Now Crush is triggered when you do switch the pheromones, and also if you stand underneath him in his purple circle. It does 150k damage to the raid and knocks you down for 2 seconds. If you are in the purple circle underneath him, it does 850k damage to everyone else who's in that circle.
So that circle is there to indicate
don't stand in it.
Don't stand in it. That's why it's there. So
never
go near that circle.
Now because of the Crush, it is a good idea to have your range and your healers stacked up in the middle of the room, making the AoE healing after the Crushes come in a lot easier, as well as you'll always have range of the boss going around the side of the room, and the tanks and the healers, everyone can just reach each other. Also, it's a very good idea to make sure that the target with the new pheromones is fully topped up and has hots rolling on them, because when the Crush comes in, they might be stunned in a trail and take a fuck ton of damage, so just make sure they're really, really topped up as well, of course, as the rest of the raid and the tanks.
Now this boss also has a few other mechanics that you need to know about. First off, he has a ability called Furious Swipe. This is a cleave that's directly in front of him. If the cleave doesn't hit at least 2 targets, he gets a buff called Fury, which increases his damage and movement speed by 10% for 30 seconds, and this ability does stack. So what you need to do, you should have your tanks throughout the whole fight standing right in front of the boss taking these swipes. So he obviously doesn't stack the buff.
Now, of course, the tanks won't be tanking, so unfortunately for the tanks, this fight can get really fucking boring, but literally just stand in front of the boss and make sure you pop the cooldowns, and have a nice little rotation just to help your healers out with the damage, because it is actually quite high, this swipe damage.
Another core mechanic to the fight is Garalon's legs. Now, Garalon does have 4 legs on his body, and each time you kill a leg, he gets damaged for 3% of his maximum health, and it reduces his movement speed by 15%, which stacks up to 4 times, and he will periodically grow these legs back throughout the fight, so you have a lot of fucking legs to kill.
Yeah, it's awesome. Also, the legs have a circle on the ground around them. If you are standing in this circle, you do 100% more damage to the leg. This makes cleave DPS off the legs onto the boss amazing. That's why you want to bring your rogues and your warriors, because they'll just be doing shit tons of damage. You want to have your melee group throughout the fight killing these legs as they spawn, apart from one particular leg, which is the front right leg. This leg is just a massive... It's so shit. It's just amazingly shit, this leg. The reason this leg is just so bad is that it is frequently in the pheromone trails around the outside of the room, and also it can also leave the encounter area if the boss is too close to the side of the room, as well as sometimes you have to go in front of the boss to kill it, and you'll get cleaved as well, taking a shit ton of damage. So yeah, this leg is just shit. So what you want to do, you want to make sure you kill the other 3 legs and just leave that leg throughout the whole fight. You don't even want to touch it. Now maybe you want to kill it at about 10%, so it'll just knock the boss's health health down really, really quickly if you want to really quickly finish it off. But otherwise, you don't want to kill it because, of course, the boss is respawning his legs. And if you've just killed that leg and then it respawns again, it's just a massive pain in the balls to kill again for your melee group. So I would really strongly recommend that you just leave this leg alone and just focus on the other 3 legs.
As a ranged DPS, you can be stood inside these circles as well with the melee, but because the boss is constantly moving, it's a little bit more difficult for you. So, yeah. I mean, if you have abilities you can use on the move, like such as Lightning Bolt as an Elemental Shaman or Scorch as a Fire Mage, you might want to try it, but you shouldn't really need it. Ranged DPS should mainly be focusing on DPSing the boss.
Yeah, because at the beginning of the fight on the pool, everyone will be caught going into these 3 leg compartments and killing these 3 legs as soon as you possibly can at the beginning. But then you just want to stack up in the middle with the ranged and the healers. Just want to stack up in the middle, and then just that's practically all you do. So as DPS for this fight, once again, all you want to be doing is cleaving off the legs and killing the legs if you're melee, and as range you should just be mainly nuking the boss. Now if multi-dotting does help your DPS, like I say, if you're a balanced druid or something, then it's okay if you dot the legs, but you shouldn't be focusing on killing the legs because of course the melee are getting a shit ton of damage from cleaving off of them.
And also as a DPS you will still be doing the pheromone debuff rotation as well, so you need to keep that in mind. Now as for tanks, you literally just stand in front of the boss and make sure you get hit by the cleaves, and obviously try not to stand in the pheromones, trail circle thingies, and as a healer you just need to make sure that everyone's topped up for crushes, and that's more or less it. You want to be popping blood dust around 20% and just nuke your tits off.
Yeah, that's
relatively simple encounter, but very fun.
It is a very good fight. So thank you for watching, guys. I hope you liked this guide, and if you did, then please do give it a thumbs up. It really does help us out quite a lot, and make sure to comment, rate and subscribe.
And if you'd like to see more FatBoss 25-man guides, then please do click up on the annotations on your screen now and it'll take you straight to that video.
Wonderful.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you.